In 1986, the world witnessed a disaster that would go down in history as one of mankind's greatest nuclear catastrophes. The Chernobyl incident, a nuclear nightmare that sent shockwaves across the globe, leaving a lasting scar on humanity. But to understand the magnitude of this disaster, we must first delve into the history of nuclear energy. The genesis of nuclear energy dates back to the early 20th century. It was an era of scientific revolution, and one discovery stood out: nuclear fission. This process, where an atom's nucleus splits into smaller parts, unlocked a reservoir of energy previously unimaginable. Harnessing this energy, scientists developed the first nuclear reactor in the 1940s. Light bulbs flickered to life, powered by atoms splitting apart, marking a new chapter in human history. This was the birth of nuclear power, a force that promised to illuminate our cities and drive our industries. Yet, as we reach for the stars, we would soon realize that this power was a double-edged sword. And while the potential of nuclear energy was vast, so were its dangers. In the early hours of April 26, 1986, the world changed forever. On this fateful day, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in then Soviet Ukraine was conducting a test on Reactor 4. The test, aimed at understanding how much power was needed to keep the plant operating during a blackout, was poorly designed and even more poorly executed. As the plant's staff attempted to power down the reactor, they found themselves in a precarious situation. Due to a flawed reactor design coupled with inadequately trained personnel, they lost control over the reactor's power levels. This led the reactor to an unstable state, where even a small disturbance could lead to an uncontrollable power surge. And that's exactly what happened. The reactor's power surged to dangerous levels, leading to a catastrophic steam explosion. The blast was so powerful that it blew off the 1,000-ton steel and concrete lid of the reactor, allowing radioactive material to escape into the atmosphere. In the immediate aftermath, the plant's workers and firefighters were the first responders. Their task was daunting: to contain the radioactive material and prevent further explosions. These brave individuals, oblivious to the lethal levels of radiation, walked into what could only be described as an invisible death field. They were not fully aware of the severity of the situation nor the grave risks they were taking. The Soviet government, not fully grasping the magnitude of the disaster, initially attempted to downplay the situation. It took nearly 2 days for them to begin a mass evacuation of the nearby town of Pripyat, home to around 50,000 people. By then, many had already been exposed to deadly doses of radiation. The disaster was unparalleled, the aftermath even more so. The Chernobyl disaster stands as a stark warning of the immense power and potential danger of nuclear energy when not properly managed. It remains a chilling reminder of the cost of arrogance, denial, and ignorance in the face of such a formidable force. The world watched in horror as the true scale of the Chernobyl disaster unfolded. The sudden catastrophe left a trail of destruction, the magnitude of which was previously unimaginable. The aftermath was marked by both immediate and long-term consequences that deeply impacted the lives of countless individuals and the environment. In the immediate aftermath, first responders, unaware of the lethal levels of radiation, were subjected to acute radiation sickness. The effects were brutal and swift, resulting in the loss of many lives. The days that followed saw the evacuation of over 100,000 people from the nearby town of Pripyat, leaving behind a ghost town that stood as a stark reminder of the disaster. As the months turned into years, the long-term health implications began to surface. Thousands were afflicted with various forms of cancer, birth defects skyrocketed, and mental health issues arose from the trauma and displacement. The invisible enemy, radiation, continued its silent assault on the health of those exposed. But the effects were not confined to human health alone. The environmental impact was equally severe. The surrounding forests and bodies of water bore the brunt of the radioactive fallout, affecting the local flora and fauna. Many species were pushed to the brink of extinction, while others showed signs of mutation and abnormal growth. In an attempt to contain the radioactive contamination, an exclusion zone spanning roughly 2,000 square kilometers was established around the power plant. This zone, devoid of human life, stands as a chilling testament to the disaster. Within its boundaries lie deserted towns and villages, their silence speaking volumes of the tragedy that occurred. Yet, it's not just a story of devastation and despair. In the face of such adversity, the human spirit showed remarkable resilience. Stories of bravery and heroism began to emerge from the ruins. Stories of those who risked their lives to contain the damage, to save their fellow citizens, and to prevent a catastrophe of even greater proportions. But amidst the devastation, stories of bravery and resilience emerged. In the face of unimaginable disaster, heroes were born. Amid the chaos and confusion, bravery shone through in the form of firefighters, plant workers, and the cleanup crews. These were ordinary people, thrust into extraordinary circumstances, their lives forever marked by the invisible enemy that was radiation. The firefighters were the first on the scene, battling the flames without the knowledge of the lethal radioactive particles they were inhaling. Plant workers, too, faced the invisible foe head-on, striving to contain the damage and prevent further catastrophe. Then came the cleanup crews, also known as liquidators. They worked tirelessly, removing and burying the radioactive debris, often with little more than basic tools and their indomitable spirit. They faced the most daunting task of all, making the site safe again. Every one of these individuals risked their lives, their health, and their future for the sake of others. Their sacrifice will never be forgotten. More than 3 decades later, Chernobyl still stands as a stark reminder of nuclear power's potential for destruction. Today, the exclusion zone, a region spanning 30 kilometers in all directions from the power plant, is a haunting echo of a time when things went horribly wrong. It's a ghostly landscape, devoid of human life but teeming with wildlife, that has reclaimed the abandoned towns and villages. It's a strange paradox, a place of desolation and life, of ruin and recovery. At the heart of this zone is the sarcophagus, a massive steel and concrete structure built to encase the ruins of reactor number 4. This monolithic tomb, officially known as the new safe confinement, is a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. It's designed to contain the deadly radioactive materials within the reactor, preventing further contamination for at least the next 100 years. But the story doesn't end there. The Chernobyl nuclear power plant is in a continuous state of dismantling. Piece by piece, workers are carefully deconstructing the remaining structures, a process that's expected to continue until the mid-2030s. It's a painstaking task carried out under the watchful eyes of the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA. The IAEA, a global watchdog for nuclear safety, has been closely involved in the Chernobyl cleanup and decommissioning efforts. They monitor radiation levels, assess safety measures, and provide technical expertise. Their work at Chernobyl is a critical part of their broader mission to promote safe, secure, and peaceful use of nuclear technology. Chernobyl is not just a scar on the landscape, but a lesson, a warning from history. It's a reminder of the immense power we wield and the equally immense responsibility that comes with it. The disaster has forever altered the way we approach nuclear safety, leading to stricter regulations, improved design standards, and more rigorous oversight. And so, as the sun sets over the silent streets of Pripyat, the city nearest to the power plant, the legacy of Chernobyl lives on. It's a story of tragedy and triumph, of destruction and determination. The lessons learned from Chernobyl continue to shape the nuclear industry today. Chernobyl was a wake-up call for the world, a stark reminder that even the most advanced technologies can fail if they're not handled with the utmost care. In the aftermath, a significant shift in global nuclear policy was observed. with safety measures being enhanced and reinforced. Across the globe, nations learned from the mistakes of Chernobyl. Safety protocols were revised, and nuclear power plants were subjected to more stringent regulations. The focus was shifted to designing reactors that could withstand both human error and natural disasters. This disaster also highlighted the importance of transparency in information sharing. The world now understood that concealing nuclear accidents only exacerbates the damage, affecting not just one nation, but the entire global community. But perhaps the most important lesson was that prevention is paramount. By investing in advanced technology, rigorous training, and transparent communication, we can avoid the repetition of such catastrophic events. As we remember Chernobyl, we must ensure that such a disaster never happens again. The story of Chernobyl is a testament to the power and peril of nuclear energy. From the disaster's roots, through the heroic response, the aftermath, and the lessons learned, we've journeyed together. It serves as a chilling reminder that with great power comes great responsibility.